Hey, it's Coch with Tactical Hyve. Today's video is going to be a part 1 of 2 that is going to cover our plate carrier setups that we use throughout our career, starting with Coch and finishing with me. It's going to span, what, 3, almost 4 decades almost?
Oh, God, that just makes me sound
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. It's going to take us all the way from the Reagan 80s all the way up to about the present. And we're just going to go over, what worked for us and how it all evolved. So stay tuned. Hey, today's video is brought to us by TacPack. Get up here. Sorry. What's on this thing?
I'm glad you asked.
Deceivingly heavy.
TacPack is a monthly subscription service that sends you a box with tactical, EDC, and survival gear.
Well, I hope there's med gear in this one. Anyway, if you guys remember to use coupon code TACHYVE at checkout, the guys at TacPack will throw in a free $75 USA-made AR part. All right, let's get to the video. All right, guys, we're back. In today's video, it's all about the plate carriers, what we wore and how it evolved throughout our careers. So we're gonna go ahead and start at the beginning, which for Coch was the Reagan 80s.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go out with this fine specimen right here, made from a company called Point Blank. Coch, why don't you tell us about this one?
Yeah, this was one of the first generations of the Kevlar body armor. Okay, prior to that, the old Vietnam guys, it was just ballistic layers of ballistic nylon. This is at least Kevlar, and it's actually more reliable to actually stop a bullet, where a flak jacket was meant for little fragments of stuff that would just stick in it. You got high speed pistol rounds at least, so up to, I think this one's rated to like 357 or something like that back then. But rifle rounds would go right through it, okay? Yeah. Now this was just a bare bones, and again, we didn't use a lot of stuff. Most of our stuff was on our belt at the time, so this stayed pretty much like it was. When you're using the MP5, you might have a vest that we throw over the top here that had like a 3-pack of MP5 mags on each side if you're going heavy. But it was a separate piece, and so you had your body armor component and then your vest that went over that held any gear that you had. Okay, so that was the beginning. That was the 80s all the way up to hell, probably early 90s. We were still running around with that kind of stuff. So
you twisted these up to kind of lock them in place? Is that?
Yeah, I twisted them up because I wanted this nice and high, and normally what you do is you take you take this to your rigger and have that cut and put it on there. But I just rolled it up there and it worked just fine. It wasn't a big deal. It was a decent piece of kit. Got hot in the summer, but it was warm in winter. So.
Was it common at the time for guys to have riggers sew things directly onto it, or was it pretty much standard?
No, not in this generation, because they wanted these back pristine. You couldn't modify these.
It was a loner
at all. Yeah,
the first body armor I ever wore was a loner.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And back the vest you had to get from your comm ET shop because it had a radio pouch on it. So they kept it. It wasn't in the armory. It wasn't issued to you. It was just loaned to you for the deployment.
Not that you had anything to compare it to since it was your first one, but did you like this kind of back of the neck protector, cowboy collar looking thing?
Honest, you never even knew it was there.
Never knew it was there?
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at it. I've never worn anything like that, but there was one particular night where this would have really come in handy for me. But it's okay. I was curious.
You were covered.
Yeah.
It's all good.
All right. Okay. Right on.
So
we've got the official Coch right there.
Yeah, that's how you could tell it was mine. Once I think that was the last one that of my 4 platoons. That was the last one that I was issued, and at that point, if they didn't ask for it back, so I didn't give it to them.
But in that time, as far as torso protection, ballistic protection, nothing had really evolved past.
Well, and the only time you wore this was during CQB. If you're patrolling, yeah, you relied on stealth, camouflage, and being mobile. You move fast and you're harder to hit. This slowed you down, but in a house, you really didn't have anything to hide from. or hide behind. And you're not really being stealthy at that point. You're busting in there and shooting. So you needed something that was going to help you out. If the bad guys had AKs, though, I mean, if they had submachine guns, that'd be one thing. 9mm ain't going through that thing. But if you ran into an AK, you might have an issue.
Yeah.
Well, we never did at the time. That was so when we did shipboarding, we didn't wear that at all because it's heavy. It'd make you sink if you fell over. So we just went bare-assed and big balls. Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah. When it comes down to it, it's like, hey, let's go do this.
It's
Somebody
hard to go
has
with
to.
one and not the other.
Somebody has to.
Like, how am I going to cover one? These are the questions I've asked myself. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on.
We didn't know any better.
Next gen.
So
still black.
this is what we're, yeah. The whole black idea. It's if you're a cop, okay, maybe, but this does not camouflage well, and you show up at night. I mean, most of the ships that we're working on,
yeah,
they're gray.
Very
and,
silhouetting.
Yeah, it just shows you can see black things at night, right? But hey, again, evolving. All right, so this one, I actually sewed a radio pouch on. This is what I got issued for Green Team. Okay, so this is 1995-ish. And you had this set up. It's got your Kevlar inserts that have become now a lot thinner for the same ballistic protection. And you had the capability of putting a strike plate in this pouch here. There you go.
Good Velcro.
Slide in there. It's been on there a while.
Don't make it like that anymore,
No kidding.
It's that 90s craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's made out of this heavy ballistic nylon that was heavy. So you had your inserts, and you could run with the inserts in, take the inserts out, just put the plates, depending on the level of protection that was required.
So was this a standardized comms pouch that had to be put there, or was this personal preference? I mean, did guys alter these in other ways at that time?
Everything was kind of personal preference at the time, but this was a standard place to put your radio because you could reach it, and you could switch channels or whatever. And it was a short run with these little loops to get to your headset, so if that's what you're using.
So by the mid 90s, having the radio on the back shoulder, that had already kind of faded? Yeah.
Some guys might have still done that. I don't know. I always want to be able to switch the radio myself if I had to, turn it up, turn it down, change channels. I'm not a comm guy, but the controls on the radio gave you a little bit, head sheds on channel 1, nug sheds on channel 2, and airs on channel 3. So if you had to talk to an airplane, because the shit's hit the fan, you want to be able to reach over here, and be able to talk, if you had to. So you have different nets, and that's comm stuff. But yeah, so having the radio there was good, and then we'd have most of the gear that we had, your mags, your sidearm, all that stuff was all on a belt with suspenders underneath this. So the majority of stuff was here, and then some guys, as this evolved, we started putting more stuff on the chest. Now that was your black one, and I got Fast-X clips on here, and these are for clipping your fins on if you had to do that, or there's just little modification stuff that we did.
And so over the top of this, depending on the weapon system, you'd have a pre-built chest rig, and you would just kind of switch.
No. There was no chest rig for this. It was a belt rig. Everything was
never used
belt.
It. Never chest at this point. Everything on belt.
Yeah, everything was on the belt because you had your.
You just want to be as slim in the front as possible.
Yeah.
So you first got this in '95. I know you were kind of before that. You'd kind of taken a knee and were out in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Before that, but. This looks a lot like what the guys were wearing in Mogadishu in '93, late '93. Is this about the same?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. That would have been that era. I don't know for sure because I didn't get to the command until '95, and this is what they were offering up.
Okay.
So yeah, this would have been similar stuff. I mean, this is Safari Land made the carrier, and I believe they made the soft armor as well,
Yeah.
So, it came as a set. And like I said, it wasn't brand new to us. You know, I mean, you know, we weren't the first ones wearing it. Obviously, the squadrons have been wearing it for, you know, at least a couple of years by the time we got it. Okay.
And then how long after that did they decide that maybe silhouetting ourselves in all black wasn't the deal?
In and around, it was pre-war. Normally what happens is, you operate the way you operate in peacetime, and then when the war kicks off, you go, oh crap, and fix things. But I think enough guys came back from Mogadishu saying, hey, that wasn't the ticket, and they started, the wheels turned slow. But yeah, they eventually they came out with this. It's pretty much the same damn thing. It's just in good old desert tan. We use the same plates. It's got the same ballistic protection. Actually, I think they upgraded on this one because we figured we were gonna be in the ocean a whole lot or in the water a lot. So they or that one is just sewn seams because apparently if you get salt water into Kevlar, it weakens the material and it's not as ballistically protective. So these were like heat sealed, sealed up so that we could get wet with them because that was our primary job.
Okay. Did you? So you got the 550 loops on the back for fins. You
can attach. Yeah, you throw a beaner on there for fins, whatever you needed. It was kind of GP.
Okay.
If you had to.
What about down here? Just more secondary attachment points?
We didn't, okay, so we didn't have Molly back then. So just having an attachment point on there just to loop something on, whether it was a rubber band or a carabiner, mission sets changed a fair amount. So you just needed to have something that you could adjust to.
The old external pouch for the plates. Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Don't have a dedicated radio pouch on this one. So
no.
Had you moved to chest rigs for comms and ammo?
Yeah, we were getting to that point, and yeah, you'd throw your kit over the top. We started getting vests that would go with this. So you had your stuff there. Most guys weren't attaching things to the vest at this point. You still had a fairly heavy belt or a vest that you threw over the top of it.
Cool.
Okay.
Alrighty.
And then somewhere along the line, they figured, oh, you know what? Why we got all that other crap on there? Let's just go with just the plates. So this is what the initial chicken plate holder. Why it was called chicken plate? I don't know. That's the guys at London Bridge because they're the ones that made this. But this is the old school steel plates. The front is different than the back. It's got little wings out.
So now we're pushing 2000 time frame.
Yeah, we're talking
late 90s, 2000.
Yeah, we're getting into there.
Okay.
Into that kind of setup. This is all pre the MLCS, the Molly kit that they rolled in around 2001, 2001. So this is the point where you would have this, and then you would put your kit on over it, and that was your plates. Okay. Again, there's no fast way to get it off. There's no fast, you start sinking, you're going to sink. So we didn't wear them for any kind of maritime operating. Okay?
So before 9/11, before the desert war, desert CENTCOM operational environment really kicked off, the United States military was a green military. We wore everything in green primarily. Green blends in better than black.
Especially at night.
And then in the Navy, that maritime mission, green just is what guys went with. And then obviously everybody fights the last war. So just that Vietnam era hanging over us, looming over us in the past, everybody was gravitating to the last war, trying to measure up to what the guys did in the last war. So, olive drab, green, woodland was just how everybody rolled in the 80s, 90s. All right, so up next, got a interesting period piece here.
This is Afghanistan time frame. So this was operational from 2002. So I think we got issued them. It wasn't brand new then. So 2000, 2001, we got this whole big MCLS kit. I don't know what it stands for, but it was a big bag, this color, that had all this stuff in it, right? So this was the Rhodesian, okay? So this was initially, it wasn't meant to have any body armor on it, but it has a place to put the plate, right? So you could put that plate. Most people, when they ran this whole thing, detaches from here, and you fold this bib down, so you just have your mag pouches and everything that comes out around your waist. This one here, we'll put the plates in, full plate in front. Okay, and this is a rig, man. This is like me just figuring out how to get stuff to attach and shove it on there. This wasn't the initial, the Camelback. It was had a backpack, but it's got a little spine plate back here. Dangerous business. You would keep you from getting a straight hit to the back, but the angle, whatever, you just gotta work the angle.
Yeah, I also use this Rhodesian. I got that same MLCS kit. I never put plates in it. I ran it just as a Rhodesian. I think I only ran 5.56 in it. Interesting enough, this one does have a pouch, which we'll talk about later with some of the more recent stuff. But there's no Velcro or a place to put in the mag inserts. It was never intended to put mags in.
No, that hole right there was just intended to fold that under. But guys would, some guys would even they put a clip draw on their sidearm and shove it in there, depending,
I actually have a holster that I could get in there. But I always preferred the mag pouch. Having this flap for the pistol when you're doing anything that might cause it to pop out, definitely a plus.
It's a plus, but it also slows down your transition if that's an issue. So this, you have your radio pouch. It's got a magazine in it now, but all this stuff continues to evolve. So this was 5.56 when I was in Afghanistan, and I've kind of modified it to now put the pouches for the 7.62 for the SCAR.
Yeah. Then on the back, you just did a custom job with the
good old
Camelback. And then the Camelback had the little pouch, so just enough for this little guy. What's this little guy?
That's a little spine plate, man.
It's a little spine plate.
It's a little spine plate. Yeah. I've never seen them anywhere else. That was the only place that's the only one I've ever seen, honestly, that we were issued that at that time.
Cutting weight, you're fighting a war in a ski resort, you don't want to cut weight where you can.
Yeah, wherever you can. And this was a really good place to carry your water as well. So that Camelback was a good
Wait, you put water in the Camelback?
I actually put water in the Camelback, and that might have, I fell off that building and it busted that Camelback.
Yeah,
might have saved me a few brain cells.
Landed on a waterbed.
Yeah,
cool.
Exploded everywhere, but
alrighty,
did its job. And then moving on, this is okay. We did a whole video a while ago about plate carriers and all that, but this is the one that I invaded Iraq in. It's still heavy. Everything's like just ballistic nylon. It's probably at least twice as heavy as it needed to be. But again,
built to last.
Comms, knife.
Yeah. Some of that old school American flavor. We still build things to last.
Yeah.
This might be the last thing that was ever built to last. Everything else is just.
Well, even now the lightweight stuff. The technology of the textiles is just. It's come a long way. You got a lot lighter stuff. That is just as strong, and guys found that when they went with they got issued this, but they didn't want to screw it up, so they went out and got airsoft gear from Condor or one of those. I mean, they're a decent company, but it wasn't quite as cool, but it was lighter weight, and they did 2 or 3 deployments with it.
All right, so the front, back, this is back before the kangaroo pouch. We got 3 mag pouches across the front, and then the comms pouch.
Each of these will carry 2. So
it could go up to 6 mags.
6 mags across your front, 2 mags on the gun. And then if you needed more, then you'd put more in the backpack. And of course, at that point, you'd have to have your buddies, hand it to you, because this doesn't come off. It's still, at this point, still attached to the plate carrier. Yeah. And of course, we had the gas mask, because we're worried about that WMD stuff. And then if I got caught out overnight, this is just a 3XL lightweight Gore-Tex that I could put on over this whole kit and keep the wind off me and keep me from, just environmentals.
Yeah, but it's real cold, really fast in helicopters. I've damn near lost consciousness.
Yeah.
You're looking down at snow-capped mountains and you're wearing a t-shirt. You're just like, oh, man.
This is going to suck. Yeah.
Oh.
So, this was that was the plan, just, to have this just in case. And it came in handy more than once. But you put that over the whole kit, and that way you're still ready to go but you weren't, just consumed with your own misery.
Outstanding.
That can happen.
Cool.
So this is the last one that I wore operationally. It's still set up fairly similar. Get your comm stuff, water, zip ties, all the stuff that you'd need, and well, nothing you didn't. But yeah, it was a good kit.
That's the idea anyway.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. It was a good kit for what it was. But again, heavy, bulky, big. You want to avoid putting too many pouches on because you will fill them. This had you could put the I think I had a full size plate in this one. I think it's got a slot for the spine plate.
So
yeah. Okay, so
but honestly,
in here you'd have that little Velcro for the spine plate would go
that's
in there.
probably for a bladder, but you can put some armor in there.
Hey, bladder can go, armor can go.
Talk about dehydration, get shot. That'll dehydrate you.
Yeah, post haste.
And post haste, very cool. All right, man. So we've gone through 6 setups that took us from the rock and roll Reagan 80s.
Basically through my era from, the beginning, of my career in the 80s, through the 90s, 2000s, and then up to the invasion of Iraq in 2003. That's a fair amount of history, but now, we can swap over to part 2 is going to be, you can take over.
Yeah, we'll take it from there. We'll take everything up to the present or pretty close to it. As you guys were going into Iraq, I was actually in first phase. Place to be. It was very energizing after a long day of that awesomeness to be able to watch that stuff on the news. Yeah, very motivating. But anyway, not long after that, I started getting issued this stuff, the MLCS, and even some of the earlier stuff. So we'll pick it up from there, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being here. If you haven't already done so, like and subscribe. And this is Dora and Coach, out.